Okay, I'm going to run through some of the problems that you can have in running the inverted sonar program. I've got everything set up to show you what mistakes you can make and what they look like. So here we have the puTTY terminal running. You can see it's running fine. The sensor's detecting my hand going back and forth. So we move to the next part, which is to run inverted sonar. So here I am. I've pulled it up, and actually I've pulled it up in the Arduino editor. If I go ahead and I try to compile it, it immediately runs into a problem because it doesn't understand serial event. And you pretty quickly realize, oh, this is actually running in the wrong processor or the wrong environment. This should actually be running in processing, not the Arduino editor. So I'm going to close that. And now here I have it in the right editor, which is called processing. And I'm going to go ahead and compile it here. So it's inverted sonar, and now we're in the processing editor. Immediately we get an error, and if you're following along, it's pretty obvious what the problem is going to be, but basically the serial port's in use. Well, it's in use because I have the puTTY monitor running still, so I'm going to shut that down. Before I do that, though, we're going to have another error because that's actually the wrong program running in the puTTY monitor. So I'm going to close that, say yes. I'm going to come over here to the sensor window, inverted sensor in the processing IDE. I'm going to hit compile, and basically we get this bullseye because there's data running, but it's not really in the right format. And if we look in the inverted sensor program, we can see that the right com's being called, and then actually the data is being passed, but it can't really port it. So to fix that, I'm going to close the visualization window. I'm going to go back to my Arduino editor. It's the precise sensor data that matters. I'm going to compile that. I'm going to upload that to the actual sensor. So it's uploading right now. Over here you can see that it's we have a green light. I can run the puTTY monitor to verify that it's running correctly. I'll do that very quickly. Comes up. It's on our usual port. There's our data. It's a little hard to see, but it looks like that as I move my hand towards and away. And this is actually the data that we're expecting to get in the inverted sensor. We're smart enough now to know to close the puTTY menu so that it doesn't interfere with the serial port. We come back now to the inverted sensor, and now we run this, and now we have this, which is actually what we're looking for. So now as I move my hand away and close to it, it actually picks it up as a sort of little radar type of situation. And that's really it. That's what I wanted to cover as far as errors go. You might, when you're running this, get an error in the sonar where there's a mismatch between the RTX and the jar files. You can actually fix that if you look on the processing forum. You can find the right binaries to drop into the right spot. I did go through that, but it's just a warning, so I think it's actually a little bit of a red herring when it comes to fixing this stuff. So you have an RTX mismatch. You want to go to that URL at the very top, jar window, so it's on the forum processing. Look for this, and then find the right binaries that match. What those binaries look like is you'll be actually in this directory here, and then you can drop in the tutu pre1, which will then match. But again, I think that's a red herring. I don't think it really matters. It seems to run better, and it seems to run fine when you get all that put together. So all that does is remove that warning message. There you go. And that's kind of the quick version.